Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Josephine Connolly-Skonin, and I'm the director of the Nutrition Division here at Stony Brook Medicine and our dietetic internship program. I have a number of people with me here today, and I'm going to have each one introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kara Cohen, coordinator of the Distance Dietetic Internship Program.
Hi, I am Sharon Schmidt. You've seen emails from me, I'm sure. I am the go-to for any questions you have, and I help you from start to finish administratively.
Sharon's the go-to for any questions I have, too.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Danowski. I'm the Associate Director of the Dietetic Internship Program. I also help back up Kara when she's away, and the distance people need my help as well, too.
Hi, my name is Leah Holbrook. I'm the Associate Director for the Fully Online Master's Program.
Okay. So the first slide we're going to share with you is the organizational structure for Stony Brook Medicine. And we do believe it's one of the highlights of our program because the dietetic internship program is housed in a very large nutrition division. So there are many aspects to our division. I'm going to explain each one because all of the RDs in our division do help to develop the curriculum, provide presentations during orientation and review week. You may spend some time with various people doing telehealth. So there's lots of behind the scenes participation from all aspects of our program. So on the left-hand side, you have our inpatient clinical nutrition service, which is the inpatient team for the 605 or so beds or whatnot in our hospital. So there are dietitians in every area of specialty in the inpatient team, and our clinical nutrition manager is Lisa Richter. During orientation, some of the RDs do give presentations and review week as well. Then we have our Women, Infant, and Child Supplemental Food and Nutrition Program, or WIC program. Lauren Brand is the director of that. And there are many dietitians and admin folks that work in that program. As a distance DI, you'll mostly get the benefit of that program through the work on the case studies for peds and gestational diabetes and maternal issues and whatnot. So a little bit more behind the scenes for our distance DI in terms of the WIC involvement. For the public health nutrition program, in addition to Kara's role in the internship program, she also is the coordinator for our public health work, which has included various programs from the New York State Department of Health over the years. More recently, more programming on site, on campus as well. And herself and another RD, which I'll mention in a moment, manage our Stony Brook Heights Rooftop Farm. It's a very fun Instagram website to look for and get a sense as to some of the operations here on site at Stony Brook Medicine. We then have our graduate nutrition program. Leah Holbrook is the associate director for that program. She'll share a little bit more details there. And there are some faculty members that teach, including Dr. Krista Orkan and Dr. Soteria Everett. And we have a number of adjuncts, many of whom are some of our inpatient RDs who serve as adjuncts in the master's program. So even though they're adjuncts, they're very integral to the division and very involved with the operations of our division. And then to the right, we have our dietetic internship program. Lorraine Danowski is the associate director, and Kara is the distance DI coordinator, but both are involved in the on-site and the distance DI. We operate it very similarly. And then Annie Ng is the a preceptor for the internship program. She's the co-manager on the Stony Brook Heights Rooftop Farm. Her and Kara have way too much fun up there, I think, sometimes. And someone that gets recorded on Instagram. And Annie also is our expert in teaching the nutrition-focused physical exam. So as a distance DI, you will come on site for part of your orientation, and Annie will work with you at that time. And we have 16 on-site seats for our dietetic internship and a growing number of distance dietetic interns. Okay.
I think that's me, right? So the dietetic internship requirements are as follows. There's the screening process, which you need a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university with a preferred minimum GPA of 3.2. You need an A&D declaration of intent to complete the degree program, or a verification statement if you've already completed this program and are entering after you got your bachelor's. We also look for work and volunteer experience. Doesn't always have to be in nutrition, but it's great if it is. We're looking to see that you're someone who employers like to keep on board and and are good to work with. Usually there's a telephone interview with 3 faculty members. Josephine and myself very often do most of those along with Kara, and then we have other people doing them as well. A lot of them are the inpatient team. You have to complete all didactic and undergraduate coursework before the start of the internship. But the good news is there is no GREs, and you do have to complete a supplemental form. So this is sort of how we know that you're serious, and you have a proposed rotation schedule and preceptor qualification form. And those are both located on the website. We do need you to have the ability to travel to SBU for the dates we have up there, January 17th through the 21st, which would be in 2022. That's for orientation week. And then we bring you back towards the end of the internship, November 7th through the 11th, for evaluation and review week, which this is where we get to go over things for the exam and also evaluate some of your skills, such as the nutrition focused physical exam and other things that we feel is important that you leave here having.
I just do want to emphasize that we take a holistic approach to reviewing the applications. So some people really needed to work during their didactic program. So you may not have been able to get as much shadowing experience in a hospital, but you have a long history in terms of employment. That's valuable. Some people are very involved in sports and may have been in a D1 program and didn't have time to do other things besides school in their D1 sport. That's understandable. So we're looking for what you did with your time outside the classroom and how that has helped to build your skill set, which is what you'd want to put in your personal statement, is explaining all the things that you've done to prepare yourself for the internship and how those different experiences helped you to develop your skill set and prepare you to be ready for the dietetic internship program. And then also just to emphasize, we started to do orientation and evaluation review work as a hybrid model. So the dates are there. We may not require you to be on site the entire time, but at least 2 days of those of each of those 2 weeks. So just keep that in mind. We're trying to be mindful of cost for those that have to travel and stay at a hotel.
So on our website, you will find this hopefully helpful application checklist. Literally, you can go down it and check off the boxes and make sure that you've done everything that you need to do. We only accept applications via DICAS. Please make sure that you put the time into completing this application. Don't assume that the resume that you uploaded is enough. Those sections are there for a reason. Please fill them out. There is a separate application fee for the dietetic internship at Stony Brook. You can find the link for that right on our website. That's in addition to the DICAS fee. And then you also need to register on D&D for the computer matching.
Okay, so we do have 2 options listed here, and some people are a variation of the 2.
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
We're very flexible.
So the first one is if you want to do the internship in 10 months, and that's considered full-time. So you would complete the dietetic internship orientation, rotations, evaluation, and review week in less than 10 months. And we have the dates up there for you. The second option is part-time. So according to A&D, you do have to finish this within the 2 years or 24 months. So that's why the part-time one, you can kind of maneuver that however it works for your life, but you do have to finish within the 22 to 24 months would be the max. So you complete the dietetic internship, orientation, rotations, evaluation, and review week within the 2 years. And we have the dates up there too. Orientation generally is in week 1. It has to be in week 1, I should say, and evaluation and review week is in week 2.
So you'll do, if you're part-time, depending on how your schedule lays out, you'll definitely do orientation your first year. And then whether you do evaluation and review week at the end of that first year, around the 10, 11th month mark, or the following year, depends a little on how your schedule plays out. Any things that may have happened that slowed you down a bit during the during your initial plan schedule. So we have to be a little flexible with that, whatever seems to make most sense and relative to when you plan on taking the exam or when you'll be ready to take the registration exam. So there's a little flexibility, but you have to do orientation, as Lorraine said, of course, in the first year.
And we did have an intern this past year who started out intending to do part-time, but then was able to, she worked really hard to line up some more preceptors and was able to finish with the full-timers. So we can go, either way. And you can also start off full time and then your rotation falls apart and you need a little bit more time. So we'll work with you as best we can. But you definitely do need to do the orientation in the first year. And then depending on where you are, the evaluation review would be in that following year or the year after.
Great, so let's talk a little bit about our required rotation schedule and the number of hours. And this is something that you are responsible for securing. So we have, like we talked about, the first week of orientation, which is scheduled. It is mandatory, which is January 17th to the 21st. And as Josephine mentioned, it could most likely will be a hybrid version. And it worked out well. We did that this year.
I guess we should say hybrid, meaning part online and part on site.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it'll definitely be that week, correct?
Yes. The first rotation we have listed here is nutrition therapy. It's a total of 600 hours, but it is required that you find 2 separate sites for that. The way we separate those sites are site 1 is in a joint commission or another nationally accredited acute care facility. We require a minimum of 262.5 hours. And I always kind of laugh when we say that because it sounds like a very odd number, but it comes out to 7 weeks full time if you do 37.5 hours a week. So that's a minimum number of hours. You can do more. So you can do more than that. Site 2 is in any other clinical setting that you choose, and you would do your remainder number of hours there. So some examples include a long-term care facility, outpatient healthcare center, bariatric center, diabetes center, dialysis center, eating disorder center, and actually you can do it in another hospital as well. So if that's an option to you, that's fine. The next one we have is the food service management rotation, which is 150 hours, which comes out to 4 weeks full time. We do require that that is in an institutional setting. So it needs to be in something like a hospital or an acute care facility where you're getting exposure to therapeutic and mechanically altered diets. So unfortunately, a school food service rotation would not fit that mold because we want you to see those kind of therapeutic diets.
But nursing home would work too. Nursing home would work.
Yep. And assisted care living, long-term care, acute care. Community nutrition is 262.5 hours. Again, that's 7 weeks full time. Though that could be done in anything like a WIC rotation or WIC center, food pantry, food banks, Department of Health. With the supermarket RD, we've actually had multiple interns do that, and they've had a great experience. So you can kind of be creative with that rotation.
And a lot of every state has a land grant institution. Think of your large state university. So in New York State, it's Cornell University, and in each county they have an office, and often there's an RD in that office. It's usually called a cooperative extension. So it's in New York State, it's Cornell Cooperative Extension, and they take interns. At least Cornell does in New York State. So I think that's also I think it's in every county. There's an extension office. So that's something that you can consider contacting the folks there as well.
Very good. The elective rotation is 75 hours, so it's 2 weeks full time. And really, we just leave that up to you, whatever you want more experience in or more knowledge in, whatever of your choosing. So we just wanted to give you that 2 weeks where you can specialize in anything that you choose. The renal rotation is 30 hours. It's a virtual. You do not need to secure a preceptor for that. We provide you with module assignments and videos to watch, and it's up to you to schedule that into your rotation however you choose, which we will talk about a little bit when I go through your rotation schedule, your proposed rotation schedule. But you do not need to find a preceptor for that. Same goes for the research rotation, which is 28 hours longitudinal. I'm not sure if we have the date set just yet, but they are conducted. We do. Okay, so they
January, likely to start in January.
Okay, likely to start in January. They are conducted with us here at Stony Brook. Actually, you'll meet with Josephine after your rotation hours. So it's typically a Tuesday evening. Or am I making that up? But it's typically in the evening.
We take into account where the distance PIs are, what part of the country you're in, and the different time zones.
Mhm.
So
So you will meet as a group. So it's a great experience. You'll be able to work with the other interns and work on a research project. And lastly, we have the required evaluation and review week. As Lorraine mentioned, we just make sure we evaluate that you are prepared to become a registered dietitian and work on your own at an entry-level position, as well as provide you with RD exam materials. So we give you a lot of presentations and materials so that you can study and prepare for the exam. Okay, so the proposed rotation schedule, this is one of the 2 forms that you must fill out and submit with your DICAS application. We give you a nice little blurb at the top, including that we do recommend 37.5-hour weeks, but really the distance program allows for the flexibility that you can choose to do however many number of hours a week that you want, as long as you complete all your rotations and your, well, most of your rotations and hours before your review week. It does give you a nice summary of the number of hours for each rotation, and then a sample at the bottom. So on our website, we have this sample document as well as a blank one for you to fill out. The order of your rotations can go in any sequence that you prefer. This is just an example. On your template, you will fill out the date, the duration that the rotation is lasting for, specifically the number of hours. The only time you put weeks is for orientation and evaluation and review week, the rotation title, the site, and then the preceptor and contact information. We do have a few suggestions. So we do like you to put, or we suggest that you put the virtual renal rotation towards the end of your rotation schedule. The reason being is it allows for, if there's any changes to your schedule throughout the year or any conflicts where we have to push back one of your rotations, that you can easily swap in that 1 week of renal. And it maybe hopefully won't cause a large impact on your rotation schedule. Another suggestion would be to include the nutrition therapy, specifically site 1, right, Sharon? Because towards the end of your rotation schedule, because it tends to be the hardest contract to secure. So after you fill out these forms and submit it to us and you're admitted, we have to go through a contract process and secure a contract with each of your sites. So it's typically hardest for us to get one at your hospital, so it takes the longest. So that's why we recommend that you put that towards the end of your rotation schedule. If it doesn't happen and they can only take you earlier on, that's okay. Sharon will work really hard.
Just at least September on would be great. Sometimes you really do go back and forth a lot with them and it just takes time. So
Yeah.
the later you can put it, the better.
If it was now, though, it would be more like March.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the other frame.
Yes. And then last suggestion would be to pair your food service management rotation with one of your 2 clinical sites. So if you could have your food service management rotation at either an acute care facility, which would be your site 2, or at one of the hospitals that you're rotating at, again, it just helps streamline the contract process.
And not only the contracts, each hospital or each facility you go to is almost like, a lot of them are like getting a new job where you have to be onboarded. So it's a lot of paperwork on their ends, might be more testing. And if you could just have to do that once for 2 rotations, that's awesome.
And also some large hospital systems might serve as nutrition 1 and 2, right? Like if they have a bariatric center, that might be your 1. The acute care is always 2. Or they might have an outpatient center or a diabetes center. So we want you to be with a different group of RDs in a different patient population or practice setting, but sometimes it's under the umbrella of the same organization. So you might then have your 2 clinical and your food service all under one contract.
Yes. And we've actually seen the same preceptor for both food service and clinical because they oversaw both. And then just lastly here, just to make note, we do require that you do not have any rotations within Suffolk County. So it could be anywhere in the country except for Suffolk County, New York.
And you will find on our website a listing of sites that we have a contract for.
Mhm.
So it might be somewhere to start. Reach out to those hospitals or facilities first and see if they'll take you if they work for you location-wise.
And also to that point, on Eat Right, they do have a list or a link to Find My Preceptor. And we have found that a lot of interns find preceptors that way.
We have that link on our website as well.
Great. Okay.
Eatright.org is the website for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. In case you haven't been there, you probably have, but just in case.
The second form that we require that you submit with DICAST is for each of your rotation schedules, each of your rotation sites. The preceptor will fill out one of these proposed preceptor qualification forms. It's just giving their contact information, the number of years experience, what site you're rotating at, and when the start and end date is that you'll be with them. And on the back side of this page is their signature. So don't forget to make sure that they sign it. It's just, again, to let us know that you've been in contact with this individual and they are agreeing to precept you during the internship.
And in addition to this, for every preceptor, we also need their resume or CV as well with this form. Go, Leah.
So we also offer a fully online master's in nutrition. It is a 36 credit master's program, and we offer some benefits to duly matriculated students who are in the master's and the dietetic internship, whether it be on-site or distance. So just an overview in terms of concentrations, we offer 3 choices of concentrations. Well, there's generalists. Sorry, you're right, Sharon's right. There's 2 concentrations, or you can opt for a generalist track, which is like the no concentration. So the concentrations are listed there for you: advanced nutrition therapy and critical care, or integrative nutrition therapy. As I said, there's also a generalist option, and basically the program is 12 classes, and regardless of your concentration, it would be 9 core classes. 12 core classes. 9. Sorry. It is 7 core classes, 3 concentration courses, and 2 electives. But I do want to highlight the fact that if you are duly matriculated, as I said, there are some benefits. And so while the core courses and concentration courses remain essentially the same, there are 6 credits within the 36 credits that you can benefit from. And so what essentially happens is, while you are in the internship, during a semester that overlaps, in your case, it would be summer, so summer of 2022, you would be taking HFN 580, which is basically our capstone or culminating class. Non-DI students take it toward the end of their experience, but for you, you would take it in an overlapping semester, summer of 2022, and you would be able to utilize rotation hours and related assignments to meet the requirements of that course. So although you would still take the course and pay for the tuition, you would benefit greatly in terms of the time commitment that it would require. It would essentially be no additional time. The other benefit is HFN 583, which would take the place of one of your 2 electives. So you'd still have 1 elective left. One would be used by challenging out of this course shortly after completing the internship. And in this case, you not only save the time associated with your credits, but you also save on tuition, because you'll pay a challenge fee instead of tuition. And the challenge fee is set by the university. Right now, it's roughly $200 compared to tuition, which is considerably more. So therein lies the double dipping, where you can utilize what you're doing in the internship to satisfy some of the requirements of the master's. And that leaves you again with the 10 remaining courses that would be split between core courses and concentration courses. As I said, the program is fully online and predominantly asynchronous. So you have weekly chunks of material to complete, lectures, readings, quizzes, assignments, but within that 7-day period of time, you essentially can manage your own schedule. There's very little synchronous requirements. In fact, any synchronous options are typically voluntary. They might be Q&A sessions or extra help or group conversations, but they're typically not required. Let's see. see what else. Right now we're learning Blackboard. You're using Blackboard as our learning management system. That does look like it'll be changing, but right now that is what we are using. So you might be familiar with that or other learning management systems, and they are fairly intuitive. We don't find that students really struggle with learning the platform. Sharon, there was a piece of information up there about benefiting. So the other thing to keep in mind is that for students who are looking for an internship and are not currently in one and want to pursue some master's classes, if you are a Stony Brook master's student and have successfully completed 6 credits and then go on to apply for our internship and your undergraduate GPA was a 3.2 or higher, you are guaranteed an interview for the internship. So not a seat, but an interview. So you kind of leap over that first screening hurdle and you're guaranteed an interview. So there's a benefit as well if there is somebody who is looking a little bit longer term for the internship and they have some time to begin a master's degree. The nice thing about this being distance is that where you are now may not be where you want to be after you are working and or have other family responsibilities. And so you can continue your graduate work after you graduate from the internship without really needing to consider location. So that is a really big benefit. I think that's it.
Okay, so some highlights of our program. We've mentioned them along the way a bit, but just to put it all together. So you have the option to complete a master's. So right now in our profession, there are a lot of changes in preparation for the registration exam, which I believe for students like yourself, it's a little challenging to navigate. So the master's is not going to be required until January 2024. So for those of you who are applying to an internship right now, it's important, and we do recommend that you start a master's, but it's not imperative that you complete a master's yet. So it's depending on your financial situation and time stressors, you know, it's good to have the option to complete the master's and not be required to complete the master's at this time. If you're going to start, if you plan on doing our program part-time, you might bump into the deadline. But if you plan on finishing in about a year, it'll be 22, 23, you'd be okay if you did it in the 10 months. If you go part-time, you might bump into the deadline. So as you're comparing programs, that's one thing to consider. Are they requiring that you complete a master's to obtain your verification statement for your internship and be eligible to sit for the registration exam? So with us, they're simultaneous. You can pursue both simultaneous, but we don't require that you complete the master's. So financially, that might be of benefit.
Can I just clarify one point? You're not going to be required to get your master's in 2024 as an RD. You're required to get your master's to sit for the RD exam. So I just wanted to clarify that if you go through the program and you're an RD, there's no 2024 requirement if you've gotten to that point by 2023. And that at that point, it was again something we would recommend, but it would be based on your, how you'd like to pursue your career.
Thank you. We also have an integrated nutrition therapy perspective that comes into play in some of the orientation work that you do, certainly in our coursework, if you choose the integrated nutrition therapy concentration. So integrated nutrition is, I think, a growing field and some job opportunities there and some opportunities to counsel in a very unique and effective way, I believe, being an integrative nutritionist myself. As we mentioned before, the internship is housed in a very large nutrition division integrated with the School of Medicine and Stony Brook University Hospital. So it affords a lot of resources for the internship in terms of student or intern development. If you have an area of interest and you want to chat with an RD that practices in a certain area, that can be arranged. We just have the ability to pull from a lot of different resources to create your curriculum and to answer any questions you may have. That may come up in some of your phone calls with Kara, which I don't think we mentioned. No, so we should put that as a highlight. So I'm going to ask Kara to explain that as a highlight. So
sure. So anytime you are in a rotation, you will be meeting with me on a bi-weekly basis. So every other week. Typically I do Tuesday afternoons. I try to schedule them around your lunchtime. And it's basically just to first stay connected so that you feel still part of Stony Brook, that you can address any questions you may have regarding assignments or any concerns with your rotation site. I could always be that connection between you and the preceptor if need be. as well as us making sure that you're getting the experience that you should be at your rotation sites. So gaining that knowledge, completing your assignments appropriately, seeing the type of patient population that we want. So it's just good to stay in touch that way, and make sure that you're getting the experience that you should. So,
And you might feel like you're not getting something as quickly as you'd like at your rotation, let's say tube feeding or TPN, and we can give you case studies and have faculty meet with you in addition to Kara, if it's not Kara's expertise, to help develop your skill set and to meet the competencies that you need to meet.
Yes.
So,
and same for if you feel like you need extra help or extra assistance with a certain area, we could always, again, give case studies and different examples and assignments to help you get through that. We call them bi-weekly calls, but they're actually Zoom calls. So they are virtual, and it's while you're on site. So we do say that if your preceptor can sit in maybe once a month, that would be great. And we could just have that open conversation together. But if not, we know that they're busy. So if they can't make it, it's okay. But we always recommend that they can.
so once you're a Stony Brook intern, we really do see it as our responsibility to help you to succeed and to prepare and pass the registration exam. So if you're not catching something, we're the people that you come to say, listen, I need a little more help in this. And we encourage you to do that. And then it's our job to provide that assistance. So we really do want to stay in touch and make sure that you're progressing as you should. So it's not like you're out there on your own without any connection to Stony Brook. Okay, you can, with the distance EI, you can plan your own schedule based on your interests, especially in terms of your elective or that second site or the nutrition therapy site that's not hospital based. It might be, you might be interested in diabetes or renal or bariatrics, and you can individualize that based on that. When you come on site for your orientation and review week, we do have a clinical skills center that we share with the School of Medicine. So that allows us to really give you a very good formative evaluation when you come for orientation week. So basically there are actors that are hired to play very specific patient scenarios. They stay in character, and it allows us to assess where you're at when you start the program. And then when you are finishing the program, then you come back for review week, we do another one, and you'll see your growth and development, your skills in terms of interviewing patients and coming up with the nutrition plan and educating patients. And at that point, we get to do the formative evaluation to make sure that you develop the skills that you need. The research rotation, I'd like to think, is one of the highlights of our program because I run it.
So that's what I would say.
It is a very robust, generally more of a continuous quality improvement program, but you will access the Stony Brook EMR and look at some issues such as micronutrient delivery to our COVID positive patients is one project that we did last year. The difference and the benefits of volume-based feeding as opposed to rate-based feeding for tube feeding projects. So malnutrition identification and LIP or physician agreement with the RD's identification of malnutrition, which has patient care as well as financial implications. So some very robust CQI projects that we'll do as a group. You'll have access to the Stony Brook library system and journals and databases, which is quite a large selection of material. The databases include, from an integrated nutrition perspective, my favorite, which is natural medicine database on supplements and interactions between supplements and medications, as well as supplement use for different disease states and conditions. We have a very fast-paced, dynamic, and diverse program. You'll benefit from that with your calls with Kara, with our research work during your orientation and evaluation week. I guess in terms of fast pace, you are actually pacing your own rotations outside of that. But it's a lot, we have a lot to offer and a lot to share with you that will, and we will do so during your time with us. And then at the end, towards the end, usually during review week, we have a career development seminar, which includes resume review, mock interviewing, thoughts on how to stay current in the field and complete your continuing education portfolio once you are an RD. So we do help you to get that first job. And we have a growing, well, actually quite large now, alumni base across the country that we maintain an alumni listserv and share jobs across the country on that listserv, which is quite helpful. Looking at black and whites, by the way, sorry, Lorraine, of our Stony Brook Heights rooftop farm. Anne Marie was one of the impatient OGs, and the one before, I think she's freeing an earthworm. Yeah, we brought earthworms home from home one year because we needed more earthworms on the farm.
Most people bring lunch. We bring our earthworms.
And this, I think, is some cabbage. Okay, Lorraine.
Okay, so Stony Brook is among the top in the country. We have been ranked in the top 50 public national universities by U.S. News and World Report. The University Hospital at Stony Brook has been named among the top 15 teaching hospitals in the country, which we're very proud of. And we attract more than twice the research funding pool of the colleges and universities on Long Island, Brooklyn, and Queens. Also proud, very proud of that as well. So this is a great place to be. There's a lot of opportunities. The sky is the limit. You just need to be creative and imaginative and take advantage of everything we have to offer.
Do you want to explain our website, John, since it's your baby?
This is our website. Please feel free to poke around. We do have all the documents that Kara was referring to. You'll find in the How to Apply section, and the student identified distance track with the strawberries. If you click on that, that'll bring you to the more specific pages that refer to the distance track of the internship. And if you are interested in the master's program, the button with the carrots will get you there. And certainly you can reach out to either Leo or me with questions on that too. And then lastly, please follow us. We love followers. My son makes fun of us because we don't have enough. But the Rooftop Farm Instagram and Facebook pages are just fun, but really need to follow too. And then our internship Instagram page is often the posts are put out by our own interns. So that's really interesting. It kind of gives you a good flavor for what we do. And our SBU dietetic encompasses all of the nutrition division, including the internship program. So please check us out and like us. And on the bottom is our website, if you don't have that already.
Okay, I think that's it for today. We have given you all the detailed information you need for considering our program. We do hope that you apply. And if you have any questions as you're going through that application process, please reach out to Sharon and she can guide you and refer you to the appropriate person to address your questions. So good luck with putting together your application and in developing your career as a registered dietitian. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.